Alright, so today we're going to cover how to create an APK from RenPy. Until recently, this was one of the hardest things to look up. Everybody's got a bunch of different versions of it, and this is just for APK, not if you want to create a Google Play Store. That is its own mess. I've made an Android game in the Google Play Store, and oh my god, is it just a nightmare to play with. One of the number one things I've noticed with many games is they're missing APKs, and you get a lot of people in the comments going, hey, can we get APKs? And hopefully this will increase the number of people with APK versions of their games, and they won't have to ask for that, which will actually increase the number of people who are interested in your game. So I downloaded a fresh version of RenPy, or RenPy, I guess they pronounce it, brand new. And it already gets me to where my game is. And I want to make a version of the Neuronauts. Here we go with build distributions, scanning the projects. We have a bunch of different options. So I could literally build with Mac, Linux, PC, and you've got the automatic build right there. The problem comes around to if you want to go with a Android. It'll ask you to install the Android apps. So you'll hit yes. That'll install. Update has been installed. RenPy will restart. So you proceed with that. It restarts itself. Then you go back to Android. And here's where you have to install the SDK. Yes, I accept the terms and conditions. And you wait for it, and wait for it. And before or after this, you'll want to download Android Studios here. This will make everything easier, and I've tried this on Linux, but for some reason it doesn't cross over properly. I'm sure there's something incredibly simple that I'm not doing, so just install this. I'm not sure if you should do it before or after, but it'll make it actually work. Okay, so here we go, ready to start packaging your game. Alright, you want to use a universal APK here. You may want to do an update. Yeah, update the latest release. The version is installed up to date. Okay, because I just got a brand new one. Okay, cancel. All right, back to Android. If you're wanting to put one up on the Google Play Store, you would hit Play Bundle as opposed to Universal APK. So you'll want to generate your key. Enter the name of your organization. I'll just put... No, delete. The Neuronaut. Continue. I will create a key in the Android key store file. You need to back this file up. If you lose it, you will not be able to upgrade your application. This is useful if you're using the store. It may also work well with Butler to help it upgrade if you're using that. I'm not. I probably should, but that's its own mess right there. You also need to keep the key safe. If evil people get this file, they could make fake versions of your application and potentially steal your users' data. Will you make a backup of an Android key store and keep it in a safe place? Yes. And it has created the key store bundle right there. Continue. Next we configure. Full name. Short name. Now this is the one where I always got stuck on, and it's actually incredibly easy. If you're creating one for the Android store or Google store, this is a bit messier and trickier because it's just a nightmare really. And apparently even the Apple store is even more of a nightmare. But for this one, you can literally make up anything if you're only making a universal APK. So you want to do .com. Basically it's the opposite nomenclature of a web address. So if you were to create a web address, you just kind of put it in backwards. The Neuronauts dot the Neuronaut. There we go. Continue. How much RAM do you want to allocate to Gradle? This must be a positive integer. This is how fast it will process, I believe. I'm probably screwing that up somehow, and people will call me on in the comments. Gradle is kind of like the central core to Android Studios. I'm still not quite sure what it is. Anyway, no point there. So would you like your application to be displayed? You can put it in the user's preferred orientations. Since I do a landscape orientation on mine, I guess you could swap it back and forth between portrait and landscape. I wouldn't suggest that because I have a lot of black space and stuff like that. Anyway, so I'll hit continue. Which store would you like your support in-app purchasing through? I have none of those, so I hit neither. Do you want to automatically update the Java source code? Yes. Yes, I will do that. All right. Choose build. What am I doing wrong here? Oh, build package. Builds the Android package, installs it on an Android device, and connects it. Okay, so we just want to build the package. And it will do exactly, now it's doing exactly what it would normally do for Linux, Mac, and Windows. Directory name variable may not include space. Build directory name variable. This may not be derived from the build name, config version, or build version. These are the things that kept me from doing stuff. And there's absolutely no reason why, because it's actually pretty easy once you know what's going on. So the mess up came down to how I named my build. I was trying to run my working version that I'm using for developing as opposed to my completed version that I used last time. And it comes down to build names and things such as that. So you'll have to adjust it based on that. Apparently the way that I've got this title named here probably comes down to this config version right here. It does not like that. So we'll just go ahead and try and run this again. This time using this. Configure. Next. Zero not zero not. Backwards. Continue. Build package. And then we wait, which is surprisingly fast considering. I feel like I need to do some ASMR during this process. That's a good sign. 5 years later. Okay, and here we are. I had to wait for a bit. You'll see other things processing. I went and grabbed some lunch and then paused the recording while this was happening. Anyway, after that, you will find it in C drive. There we go. It's in here. Distributions, and that's your release APK. Upload that, somebody downloads it to their phone, installs it, and you'll get to load up basically this, and you'll get something like this on your phone. So that's how it's done. I hope this was helpful, because God knows it was a pain in the ass to figure out myself. Just be careful of what's involved with the naming process around here. It can get really tricky. I can't remember exactly what it is, but it's in your options.rpy in your general folder. This naming issue would have ended up giving me problems for Android, Linux, or Windows, so this isn't anything specifically special. One of the number one things I've noticed with many games is they're missing APKs, and you get a lot of people in the comments going, hey, can we get APKs? And, well, this is why, because it's such a pain in the rear to figure out. Hopefully, this will increase the number of people with APK versions of their games, and they won't have to ask for that, which will actually increase the number of people who are interested in your game. Anyway, I hope this helped out a lot. Check out my game if you have the chance, and have a great day.